trauma, you nearly wound up dead. And then you cried to Jesus, and this is what he said. He said, darling, I'm not on earth, I'm in your head. He said, darling, you've got to save yourself. I won't be coming down, I know I can't. Darling, you've got to save yourself. I won't be coming down, I know I can't. Darling, you've got to save yourself. I won't be coming down, I know I can't. Darling, you've got to save yourself. I won't be coming down, I know I can't. Yeah. So that one's called the Knack, and it's for all my peoples out there who were born into the land of lack, albeit physical, emotional, spiritual, cultural. So I had a dream a few years ago that I was a fetus being put into a womb, and it was dry. It was like a desert, and it was my job to bring life to the womb, to bring moisture and life to the womb. Yeah, and it's just like, so I have a narcissistic parent and a doomsday of fear-ridden hyper-Christian parent, and being raised by individuals who are narcissistic and fearful kind of turned me into a people-pleasing doormat. And I'm trying right now to break out of that, to break out of the need to please people, to break out of the fear of displeasing people, to let go of the need for approval of everyone, even people who I don't like or respect. And I'm just singing this song this morning to bring me a bit of comfort, even though it's a bit of a harsh song actually, because it's like, being raised with the parents I had, I was very dependent on a higher power. I believed that there was going to be a rapture and Jesus was going to come back and save us, and all the bad things of the world were going to go away, and all the good people were going to be put on a pedestal, and everything would be set straight. So I never really took responsibility for my life. I never believed that I would live a very long life, because I believed in my life. And I was a child. When you're a child, you have no perception of time. You don't understand how long life actually is if you live it. And Yeah, I just constantly believed that the world was going to end, that I didn't need to be responsible for myself or for anything, because Jesus was just going to come back and make all the bad things go away. Born into the land of lack, forced so early on to find the knack, that kind of just implies, I call myself a fully grown feral child. My sister says it's called latchkey kids, when you're kind of given a house and given clothes and given food, but not really parented, not really raised, not really taught how to human. Kind of had to figure it out for yourself. And that's what I mean, forced so early on to find the knack. It's kind of like you were neglected of love and acknowledgement at an early age, and you kind of realized early on, like, shit, Earth's a hardcore place and I gotta have my own back. If I don't have my own back, no one will. And you kind of become a very independent person who's kind of defensive because of the kind of parenting you received, and fearful. And it makes it hard to form human relationships with other people, because your foundational, your developmental relationships are with your parents, and they kind of shape your perception of reality for the rest of your life. So you kind of project then your experience from childhood into every other relationship thereafter. So I developed the knack very early on, and it was kind of like a coping mechanism of having a character I would play that was liked by everyone but known by none. I got very good at being liked by everyone, yeah, but very bad at actually being authentic with anyone, which is a very lonely life to lead. I still feel that I'm lonely, but it's for a different reason now, I guess. I do still struggle to open up, but I have opened up to a few people, and I have a good friend, and a wonderful partner. But yeah, what this song is just about that, coming from a hardcore life. It might not have been your parents, it might have just been the community you were born into, the country, the society, the time and space, the body. Maybe you have health struggles or whatever it is. Like, if you feel you were born into the land of lack, you may have felt this need for a savior, for someone to come save you. But the song I wrote last year, kind of when I was actualizing, like, no one's going to come floating down on these white clouds with trumpets blaring and just set everything right. That's never going to happen. If I want my life to be good, I have to take responsibility for it. So, darling, you've got to save yourself. I won't be coming down on no white clouds. Those are Jesus' words. Because I believe that Jesus, or a Jesus-like character, existed in Earth's history, and that they reached enlightenment, which is the journey we're all on if you're active towards it. I just believed he was an enlightened being, and he lived a very enlightened life. I don't believe he was, or ever intended for people to think he was, the savior, the sole being that must now be praised and worshipped. I believed he was just like an enlightened being, a Christ being. So, darling, you got to save yourself. I won't be coming down on no white clouds. Darling, I'm not on earth, I'm in your head. If I ever walk the earth, I've been long dead. That's another line that I put in sometimes. Darling, I'm not on earth, I'm in your head. If I ever walk the earth, I've been long dead. You've got to save yourself. I won't be coming down on no white clouds. Because that's Jesus just saying, my dudes, the journey of enlightenment is a treacherous path, but no one can do it except you for yourself. So stop waiting for someone to come save you. And it can be harsh to hear that, but it's also the truth, and sometimes the truth is harsh. It was a harsh realization for me to realize, like, oh shit, no one's gonna come save me. Like, I need to stop playing the victim and actually deal with my shit, actually heal myself, actually become responsible for my behaviors and my actions and my beliefs and my life. But yeah, that's that song, The Knack, because I find people who've had a bit of a hardcore life, they kind of have that sixth sense, Maybe we don't all hear voices. I do. But there's an intuition there where you learned, okay, I got to rely on myself, I got to have my own back, and you kind of hear that inner voice, whether it's audible or not, that guides you. That's the knack. The knack is the intuition, which I believe is an awesome thing to have. So who's to say that our hard lifestyles weren't actually a blessing in disguise? These flies that rhymed. So yeah, anyway, I actually wrote that song on ukulele. It was the second song I ever wrote, ever. But I was just playing guitar yesterday, and I was like, that sounds familiar. And then I realized it was the Knack.